Miracles, divine events that defy logic or phenomena with deep roots in science yet to be understood? For centuries, humanity has grappled with this question, seeking to reconcile faith with reason. Is it possible that the wonders we attribute to God's power possess physical explanations without, however, diminishing the grandeur and omnipotence of the Creator? This is the intriguing question we propose to explore. We invite you to dive with us into an engaging universe where science and the supernatural are not enemies, but, paradoxically, coexist. We will seek to unravel how the quantum field, the foundation of reality at its smallest scale, and the very laws of physics can, in a mysterious and grand way, reveal God's signature in the creation of the universe, keeping alive the questioning about the limits of our understanding and the extent of God's power. The central theme guiding us, the quantum field and the creation of the universe, God behind the laws of physics, invites us to a profound contemplation of creation as a divine masterpiece. In this perspective, the laws of physics are not mere accidents or human discoveries, but rather the brushes with which God painted the cosmos, and the universe, the majestic canvas of his intelligence. Far from being random coincidences, the mathematical precision and intricate complexity of the universe, from subatomic particles to vast galaxies, suggest an underlying intelligence and purpose. The very existence of the quantum field, with its fundamental particles and the interactions that govern matter and energy, can be seen as the foundation upon which God built all reality. Every finely tuned cosmological constant, every fundamental force that shapes the universe, every elegant symmetry in the equations that describe the micro and macrocosms, all point to a creator who not only uttered the famous fiat lux, but who also established, with unparalleled wisdom, the rules and principles that govern light and everything else. In this context, science ceases to be an adversary of faith and becomes a powerful tool for unraveling the majesty and ingenuity of God, manifested in natural laws. If we can deepen our understanding of the quantum field, perhaps we'll be closer to deciphering God's original language in creation, the divine instruction manual for existence. The origin of the universe, from the explosive Big Bang to the intricate formation of galaxies and stellar systems, follows precise mathematical patterns and physical principles that seem to have been programmed from the very beginning of time. This inevitably leads us to ask, are these laws a reflection of the divine mind, irrefutable testimony to the power and intelligence that orchestrated existence itself? Science, by investigating these phenomena with rigor and curiosity, brings us closer not to definitive answers about who, but to an increasingly profound understanding of the intelligence and design behind all creation. How does the theme, the quantum field and the creation of the universe, God behind the laws of physics, connect to the miracles narrated in the Bible, which seem to defy all human logic and understanding? When we look at extraordinary events like the parting of the Red Sea or the healing of the blind and paralyzed, we might wonder if there's room for science in their interpretation. The Red Sea crossing, for instance, though classically seen as a direct supernatural intervention, could be interpreted by some as a divinely intensified natural phenomenon. Did God use strong, persistent winds in a shallow bay, perhaps a lagoon, to expose a temporary passage, making the water traversable? Or, from a more radical perspective linked to our theme, could there have been a resonance and manipulation of quantum particles that, somehow, altered the properties of the water to allow passage? Similarly, unexplained healings, which defy the medical knowledge of the time and even ours, could involve the body's inherent ability to regenerate at cellular or molecular levels, but in an extraordinarily accelerated and optimized way, perhaps propelled by divine intervention that altered biological conditions and the laws of biochemistry at a fundamental level. The mystery lies not in whether God acted, but in how these extraordinary events manifest, and this is where the idea of the quantum field becomes intriguing. Could God manipulate the laws of physics at such a fundamental level that he reorganizes atoms, energy, and even the structure of spacetime to achieve his purposes, in ways that we still can't decipher with our instruments and theories? Even if a plausible scientific explanation one day emerges for a miracle, God's action remains central and irremovable. Science would only describe the how the event occurred, but never the why, the divine purpose. The essence of the miracle continues to be divine intervention, whether through the use of natural laws in extraordinary and unexpected ways, or by completely transcending them in a way that defies our understanding. Faith, in this scenario, is not annulled by the pursuit of understanding, but, paradoxically, strengthened by admiration for the ingenuity and power of a creator who can operate in ways so mysterious, grand, and, perhaps, intrinsically linked to the very structure of reality. Within the perspective that investigates the quantum field and the creation of the universe, God behind the laws of physics, the natural laws that govern the cosmos are not mere accidents or intrinsic, purposeless properties, they are, in fact, the continuous and dynamic expression of divine power. Gravity that keeps planets in perfect orbit, preventing cosmic chaos, the fundamental forces that bind atoms, allowing the existence of matter and life. And the complex and enigmatic interactions in the quantum field, where reality seems to behave in counterintuitive ways, all of this is an irrefutable testament to the order, precision, and intelligence that permeate every facet of the universe. Every scientific principle we unravel, from the equations of relativity to the complexities of molecular biology, can be seen as an additional revelation of how God not only created, but also sustains and governs his creation at every moment. The precision of these laws, which allow for the formation of stars, the synthesis of elements, and the very existence of life and the cosmos as we know it, suggests a meticulous designer and a cosmic engineer of infinite wisdom. Science, with its methodology and search for patterns, offers us the language to describe these intricate mechanisms, but not the explanation for their origin, their ultimate purpose, or the reason for their existence in the first place. When a miracle occurs, it does not necessarily break the laws of physics in a destructive sense, but may demonstrate a manipulation, an orchestration, or a flexibility of these laws at a level that our current understanding simply cannot reach, or that transcends the boundaries of our knowledge. God, as creator, is not limited by his own creations, he transcends them and uses them in ways that escape our ability to predict or explain. Science, by helping us appreciate the complexity and beauty of the universe, does not diminish divine sovereignty over every event, whether ordinary or extraordinary. On the contrary, it can deepen our admiration for the power of a God who can operate both through the predictability and constancy of his laws and in moments of extraordinary intervention, revealing the harmony and inseparability between the Creator and the creation he sustains. The miracle of the loaves and fishes, one of the most well-known and impactful events in the biblical narrative, invites profound reflection through the lens of our theme, the quantum field and the creation of the universe, God behind the laws of physics. At first glance, the instantaneous materialization of food to feed thousands of people is something that conventional science, with its principles of mass and energy conservation, cannot explain. However, we can speculate about possible interactions at a more fundamental level of reality, the quantum level. In quantum physics, energy and matter are not separate and immutable entities, they are interchangeable, as demonstrated by Einstein's famous equation, E equals mc squared. Furthermore, the existence of virtual particles that continuously appear and disappear from the quantum vacuum, as well as non-locality and quantum entanglement, lead us to question the very limits of matter and reality as we perceive it. If God is the author of the laws of physics, and if he established them at a quantum and fundamental level, could he not, in some way, orchestrate the emergence of matter and energy in such a way as to manifest these foods? We wouldn't be talking about creation, from absolute nothing, but perhaps a reorganization, acceleration, or optimization of subatomic and field processes that are unimaginable to current human science. It would be such a precise manipulation of the structure of reality that loaves and fish would seem to appear where there was not enough before. However, regardless of any attempt at scientific explanation, which remains in the realm of speculation, the essence of the miracle remains. Direct and unquestionable divine intervention. Science, even if it could one day conceive of a mechanism for such an event, would only describe how something extraordinary happened, but never why, the loving and providential purpose of God in feeding the multitudes. The beauty of this miracle lies not only in the physical and miraculous provision of food, but in the demonstration of the care, compassion, and limitless capacity of a creator who transcends the limitations of our understanding and can operate in the universe in ways we are only just beginning to imagine. God remains the author and source of the miracle, even if science may one day glimpse a small corner of the veil that hides his methods. The New Testament is replete with miracles that defy human logic and science, and the question, the quantum field and the creation of the universe, God behind the laws of physics, pushes us to a new and provocative perspective. How can we attempt to understand, even speculatively, events like the instantaneous healing of incurable diseases, the resurrection of Lazarus from the dead, or Jesus walking on water himself? To conventional science, these are impossible events, but what if God operates on a layer of reality that we are only just beginning to decipher? If we think of the quantum field as the most fundamental layer of reality, where energy and matter are intertwined at a subatomic level, and where particles can exist in multiple states simultaneously, perhaps God operates precisely at that level. Miraculous healings could involve cellular and molecular reprogramming, or the activation of innate regeneration mechanisms in the human body, but in an extraordinarily accelerated and precise way, under divine command. Resurrection, in turn, would represent a complex reorganization of biological matter and energy, defying entropy and the laws of decomposition that govern life and death, a true reversal of processes at a fundamental level. And the act of walking on water? This could involve a manipulation of the molecular density of water or the cohesive force between its molecules, allowing a temporary solid surface to form or the body's density to be altered. However, even with such scientific conjectures, which border on science fiction for our current understanding, God's power is the undeniable driving force behind every event. Science, in its pursuit of understanding, can offer a glimpse into the potential mechanism or the way the miracle may have manifested, but it will never nullify divine intervention. The harmony between faith and science arises not when one negates the other, but when we recognize that science explores the tools, laws, and mechanisms that God established and uses in His creation, while faith connects us to the author of these laws, to the purpose and sovereignty of a God who can operate both through the predictability of His laws and in moments of extraordinary transcendence, reaffirming His omnipotence and love for humanity. Finally, we arrive at the core of the question that has accompanied us on this journey, the quantum field and the creation of the universe. God behind the laws of physics, leads us to a profound and inevitable reflection on the limits of human understanding. Science, with all its monumental advancements, powerful observational tools, and increasingly sophisticated theories, operates intrinsically within a framework of observable, measurable, and reproducible natural laws. It allows us to unravel the intricate mechanics of the universe, from the infinitesimal and enigmatic quantum field to the vast and complex galaxies that stretch across the cosmos. However, science, by its very nature and methodology, will never be able to fully comprehend divine mysteries, for these transcend matter, energy, and the very laws that science studies. The quantum field may give us fascinating clues about how reality is constructed at its most fundamental level, and it may even suggest the existence of dimensions or phenomena that escape our immediate perception, but it cannot, by itself, answer the who built it or its ultimate purpose. God, as the creator, sustainer, and sovereign of all that exists, is not limited by the laws He Himself established. He transcends them and uses them in ways that are beyond our ability to predict or explain. Miracles, in this sense, are not inexplicable breaks in the laws of physics in the sense that they would be destroyed, but rather manifestations of God's power that operate at a level our science does not yet comprehend, or that are fundamentally beyond our capacity for observation, measurement, and reproduction. The human perspective is inherently limited, confined to the space-time dimension and our perceptual tools. God, on the other hand, is timeless, omnipresent, omniscient, and omnipotent. Science, by leading us to appreciate the grandeur and complexity of creation, invites us to intellectual humility, while faith connects us to the grand Creator, whose mystery and power will always lead us to a reverent admiration and a sense of awe before that which transcends our understanding. Ultimately, are miracles divine manifestations occurring through physical laws we barely comprehend? Or do they prove that God operates in ways that utterly transcend our reasoning and scientific understanding? By exploring the quantum field and the creation of the universe, we realize that science offers us fascinating windows into the universe's order and beauty. Nevertheless, the mystery of God remains unfathomable, always beyond our full comprehension, inviting us to